Hey, hi, how are you?
Action.
Action. Okay, welcome everybody. Nice tight group here today. So, go ahead and get started here. So we're going to talk, I know everybody's here for MAP scores, and you might have some questions about that. We'll definitely get there. That'll be the sort of the second half. But I want to take you through a little bit more of our whole assessment program here at AES. So, a few objectives, briefly overview sort of how we do assessment at AES, what are some things we think about with that. Talk about that external assessment MAP, which have some of your scores in your hands, or maybe you have it on your phone. How to interpret it and what might be your next steps as a parent. And then we'll have some time for questions and answers at the end. Please feel free, with so few of us in here, at any moment, feel free to stop me and move this. We're not going to run out of time. So first off, why do we assess? Why do we do that anywhere? So we kind of think of it as a continuous cycle, right? Where teachers plan and conduct learning activities, students learn, students demonstrate their understanding, teachers identify areas for growth. That's the assessment phase, is we look for kids to demonstrate what they know and are able to do. We identify what are the next steps for them, and then we go back to the beginning, plan and conduct learning activities. So this whole area here, teachers identifying areas for growth, students demonstrating their understanding, that's the assess part. And that happens in a million different ways around AES. And we have a few external data points, like MAP and IB and some other ones, but we're doing this constantly at all times. So a few things to remember. Best source of information about students is their teachers. The teachers are spending tons and tons of time with them, hours every day, for days, months, and years. No assessment can ever measure a student's achievement or ability perfectly. So one of the things you'll notice on those MAP reports is they always have ranges. They do a pretty good job of identifying that we don't have perfectly fine-tuned answers. And this one, how my child is doing in school, is complex. It has lots of different factors, and it should be based on many different measures, not just grades, not just external achievement scores. This whole social emotional well-being is incredibly important. We are a whole child school. We're trying to educate all the aspects of a kid. And MAP is absolutely an important part of our program, an important part of how we understand what's happening, but it's just one piece of that puzzle. Okay, so we have sort of three big levels of assessment, levels of inquiry for assessment data. We can use MAP data as an example. At the individual student level, we look at individual student scores to answer the question, how is this student doing relative to the standards that we have and relative to other students? And our MAP scores typically give us a pretty clear answer to that question on the things that it assesses. Another one, zoom all the way out, how do AES students compare to other students? I pulled a page out of our annual report to sort of answer that question a little bit. But MAP also gives us some really good feedback about that. How do all of our students stack up? How do our students compare to kids at other schools, to kids in other regions and other international schools? And then there's another level, the program level. How effective is our instructional program? And we definitely are thinking about this a lot. We find that the MAP scores give us a little bit of information about that, but this is not the primary focus of our MAP scores, is to try and be introspective about our program for a variety of reasons. We can talk more about that later. All right, so why do we have multiple varied assessments? Why isn't one assessment enough? Why do we have to have so many different types? Well, I taught science for a long time. This is a simple graph of triangulation of an earthquake. So you can see here, there are three seismograph stations, A, B, and C, and that earthquake actually happened where the star is. And so you can see at A, it's the strongest, at C, it's the weakest, but as long as we have three different points of information about how much shaking there was going on, we can figure out where that actual earthquake occurred. So assessment and student understanding is kind of the same thing. We can have assessments that will give us a certain amount of information about where a student is, but we really need to have lots of different types of assessment so that we can really hone in on where your children are and what are the next steps. That's always what we want to think about, is what's the next step for them in their learning. So This is a big deal, triangulation, because again, no assessment can ever measure things perfectly. We need to have multiple different assessments to give us a clearer picture. So, at AES, we have a formal delineation between formative assessment and summative assessment. Formative assessment is assessment for learning. It takes many different types of forms, but this is largely descriptive feedback. So, if a student shows me a paper, or a drawing, or a musical composition, we would have descriptive feedback for them. Here are the strengths of that. Here are some things you might need to work on. So formative, the point of formative, the reason we're doing formative assessment is to give information for the teacher and to give information to the kid so that we know what the next steps are. And that's ongoing, constantly, every day, informal, all sorts of times. And then we have summative assessments, which are sort of a retrospective. It's an assessment of learning. At this point in time, how much has this student learned? What is the student able to understand and do? So we have internal common assessments. So these are conducted internally. We have a policy of common summative assessment across the school, really. So when we do a big math assessment in 4th grade, all of the 4th grades do the same math assessments. When we do an exam in 9th grade science, all of the kids in 9th grade science have the same exam. So that commitment to having common summative assessments helps keep us in line with one another. And it's very tight connections to our program because we're developing these internally. We also have external common assessments. These are developed and scored externally. And one of the main things that we get from our external assessments is the comparisons to kids who are not here. It's very easy to compare the results of our kids to other kids who are at AES because they're here right now with us. But the external assessments that are developed and scored outside of AES give us that normative data. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this. All right, so what do we use the internal common assessments for? It helps establish consistency across classes, years, divisions. I've definitely been a part of a lot of conversations between 5th and 6th grade transitions, 8th and 9th grade transitions, across our divisions, within all 8th grade teachers talking about things. It helps provide opportunities for teams of teachers to collaboratively reflect on student learning. If you could only get together to look at how kids did on a certain essay, if you were doing a very similar essay. It allows us to directly evaluate our own program because these internal common assessments are very tightly tied to our own internal program. And as with many other types of assessment, this helps us identify students in need of interventions, students who need a little bit of extra help, who might benefit from some of our other services. So as I was saying, all our summative assessments are common, and in each subject area, in each school year, we have a horizontal common assessment and a vertical common assessment, and that helps us to stay on pace with each other in a grade, and also across divisions. I'm sorry, there's so many words up on the screen. I'll make this PowerPoint available to you afterwards. Okay, so why do we do external assessments at all? So we have reliable, independent, stable measurements, and this is really important, as I was saying before, they allow comparisons to students who are not at AES, and that's that norm referencing. We're going to talk about what the norm referencing is for math in just one moment. And again, we can also use our MAP scores or external common assessments to identify kids who need some extra help as well. So what do we do? Which external assessments do we have here? It's more than just math. We definitely have math in grades 2 through 10, although it's our full implementation in 3 through 9. We only do the spring math for grade 10 because we do PSAT in the fall. And we don't do all of the domains for grade 2. We think of grade 2 as like a sort of a practice year. So you will get reports starting when you have kids in grade 3. We definitely, because we have a lot of kids going to college in the US and around the world, we do the PSAT and SAT in grades 10, 11, and 12. We have the International Baccalaureate exams and internal assessments for our diploma program, which is grades 11 and 12. And that's the big ones. Okay, so why everybody's here is for math. So here we go, for math. Here we have it. This is produced by Northwest Evaluation Association. I have a couple things. These are printouts of the attachments that were in the email that had your kids' results in it. So we look at 3 different domains or components of this test. We do a language usage, which is most tightly connected to writing, even though it's not writing. We do a reading, and we do a math. Math is very, very common among our benchmark or peer schools, so if you were to head to another international school after AES, most likely they would be using math as well. Just FYI, if you do, math results are actually owned by the school that gives the math test, so you could go to another school, they might continue to use math, but the scores would not be continuous. There's no like sort of common database for kids' math scores. All right, so this is year 5 of implementing math. We started in 2012, 2013. We do twice per year. We do a fall and a spring. This is aligned with Common Core standards, which are our standards K-12 for English language arts and for math. So when you look at the subdomain scores for math, those subdomains are aligned with Common Core. So if we'll talk about that in a moment, but the type of math questions, the type of reading questions, it lines up with our curriculum, with the standards of our curriculum. And this is the big deal about math, our norm referencing. So the scores are compared to a representative sample of students in the U.S. at that same grade level. And this is where we get the percentile score. And here, guys, this is why we use math more than any other reason. We have a lot of faith in it as an instrument. Again, very common among our peer schools. But this representative sample is something that no other tests of its type has. So the representative sample means that when you see a percentile, let's say 60th percentile in math, that means that if your student were in the United States and all the kids in the United States, all across every geographic area, rich, poor, different races, everything, equal, a representative sample, truly representative. If every kid in the United States took that test and your kid had a 60th percentile, that means that your child would have a better score than 60% of those kids. So the percentile score is truly, truly meaningful. A lot of the other tests that schools like us use that are not math, they have what's called a user norm, which just means that they compare you to all the kids who took the test that year. But math has been going on. NWEA has a long history in the United States. They have millions of individual student test events to compare to. So that percentile score is really, really meaningful and perhaps the most meaningful thing on that piece of paper. Okay, so math is untimed, computer-based, multiple choice. It is an adaptive test, this is unlike most tests that you or I have had in our lives. So when we say that it's adaptive, it means that if you get a question and you get it right, then the next question will be harder. If you get that right, the next question will be harder. If you get that right, the next question will be harder. So this allows the test to hone in on the actual level of the student. So what they're actually aiming for is you'll get harder and harder and harder until the student gets one wrong, then they'll give you an easier one. And if they get that right, harder, easier, harder, easier. And that actually 50-50 point where we have right, wrong, right, wrong, right, wrong is actually how the test knows to stop. Because if they get enough discrimination, okay, so at this RIT level, they're getting them right. At this RIT level, they're getting them wrong. That means that the RIT score is right there. It's right in between where you get it right and where you get it wrong. It looks kind of like this. It comes up on the computer. You choose your answer. You get a calculator. If they deem the questions should give you a calculator, so on and so forth. It's about like you would expect. Now, I want to talk about our norm groups. So this is a page right out of the AES annual report. And it's not super easy to see, but the yellow line in all of those graphs is AES. So you can see that basically at all grades and in all domains, we stack up very favorably against some of our peers. So you can see the other lines in there is IRCOS, East Asia Regional Council of Overseas Schools. That's mostly East Asia and Southeast Asian international schools. NISA is Near East and South Asia, our actual region right now. And you can see that the US norms are the lowest, which makes sense. because this is, again, a representative sample. This is if every single kid in the United States took this test. Now, obviously, in MISA and in AIRCOS and in AES, we have groups of students who are more academically able than your average kid in the United States, or rather, all kids in the United States. So, we keep talking about this RIT score. If you look on the paper, you'll see a RIT and you'll see a percentile. So what does that RIT mean? Well, it stands for RASH unit, or a RIT score. And to not belabor it, each question has a RIT value. So each question has assigned to it a level of hardness. So an easy question is a low RIT score, a RAP value. A hard question is a high RIT value. So, like I was saying, the test will automatically adapt to the student taking the test, and it'll aim for that 50-50 point. So aim for the place where the kid is mostly getting one right, get a harder one, gets one wrong. Gets an easier one, gets it right, gets it wrong, gets it right. And that 50-50 point is related to an educational theory of what Lev Vygotsky, famous Russian educational theorist, calls the zone of proximal development. So we actually use this to hone in on where that student is learning next. That's really the sweet spot for learning. If you put a kid, if you take a fourth grader and you give them a text that maybe an IB English student would be reading, they're not going to learn from that. It's far beyond that. But if you give them something that's too easy for them, they're not really going to learn from that either. So students need to be exposed to things which are just slightly harder than they can actually do. And this is sort of what the math score gives us. And there's Lev Vygotsky, just for why not? Okay, so math scoring. RIT scores are grade independent. RIT scores are grade independent. So we can use RIT scores to measure growth across years. So if you have a map report, and I'll pull one up here in a second, you will see a line that tends to get higher over time. So we can go 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and that line will keep going up. So the RIT score is grade independent. It doesn't matter what grade you're in. So you can see, for example, in a fall math test, we could have a grade 4 student getting a 210 on math now, and we could have a grade 7 student getting 210. Now, if those two students have the same RIT score, it is because they can answer the same hardness of question. There's nothing wrong with that. It might seem odd to you that a grade 4 student and a grade 7 student could have the same score on a test, but it happens all the time. We have extraordinarily advanced kids at the younger grades, and we have kids who have a lot of growth areas at the higher grades. So RIT scores are grade independent. It doesn't matter what grade you're in, it's just based on the hardness of the question that you can answer. Now, percentile values over here are calculated by comparing to those US students at the same grade level. So like we were saying, this grade 4 student who got a 210 in fall, that corresponds to the 72nd percentile. So what that means is if we took all of the grade 4 students in all of the US and we gave them all the tests, then 210 is a better score than 72% of kids in the US. Now, if we did the same thing for the grade 7 student, it has the same score, right? So that corresponding percentile is going to be quite a bit lower. Because most of the kids from grade 4 to grade 7, their RIT score will grow by quite a bit. So this student who is a 210 in grade 7, that's a relatively lower percentile score. So this is the hardest part about math for interpreting it as a parent. The RIT score, grade independent, percentile depends on that grade. Yeah.
What's the highest RIT score possible?
The scales are different across the different tests. I think it's usually 260 in reading language usage, and it goes up to closer to 300 for math. There's just more to learn in math, so the scales are different.
So every year when this RIT score has a specific example, because I've never seen a scale more than 250 in the last 5 years.
Yeah, they auto-scale it, so as your kids get it.
So it's auto-scale between grade 2 and grade 10?
Well, what shows up on the report here will just be a scale that shows the US average on the bottom and typically, the AES average or whatever it needs to show on the top. So, how old are your kids?
I've got 2 5th graders and 1 7th grader.
Yeah, so as they get up, by the time they get up to high school, you'll typically find their math score will be well above 250. Math, rather. So, but you just wouldn't show it. You'll see it in the chart on the side here. It tells you what the actual values are.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I was just wondering because it goes over.
Yeah, it does. They'll get there. It's not going to show it on that graph. Okay, so math and growth. This is the other thing. There's two main things that are hard to understand. One is the difference between the RIT score and the percentile score. And the other is what's going on with these growth targets or this growth projection. So you can see this growth projection is basically because we know that RIT score tends to go up over time, then after a given testing session, the test will calculate, okay, if this kid today, so let's go back to this same grade 4 kid. If this kid today, in the fall of 2016, had a 210, and that corresponds to the 72nd percentile, then they would need to grow by a certain amount to maintain that same percentile, because all kids learn as time goes by. And so what we can see in this case is that by going from 210 to 223, then this kid went from the 72nd percentile to the 73rd percentile, and we would say met the growth target. Okay? And growth target just means, is the percentile staying the same? Is it getting smaller or is it getting bigger? It's basically, are they keeping pace with where they started? So we can see on the left side, this kid did meet their growth target because they not only maintained the same percentile, but they actually went up by 1 percentile. If the kid over here, right, so this is a kid, still same grade 4, same math test. This kid started at the 97th percentile, not uncommon for our students here, and gained 10 points and ended up at 238. So you can see here, if we compare these two students, you know, the student on the right started higher, and the student on the right ended higher, but their number of points was not quite as much. And you can see as well that this kid went from the 97th percentile to the 95th percentile. So we are not concerned about this kid. We are not worried about this kid, even though they did not meet the growth target. So it's two things. We want to think, are they keeping pace? Are they continuing to learn like we would expect them to learn? Are they continuing to stay in about the same place with respect to all of the US? And that's sort of what the growth target means. But also, we always want to make sure that the kids are growing. But if a kid goes from the 97th percentile, or a kid goes from a score that's better than 97% of scores to a score that's better than 95% of scores, that's not really a cause for concern. Because that's still a very strong score to start out with. So this growth target or the growth projection is something we care about, but it's not the only thing. We also want to think in terms of, like, in absolute terms, how well is this kid doing? Okay, so, yes?
Question. So
Please.
between between fall and end of year, generally the kids should grow, right?
Yeah.
They didn't grow that year.
I have a whole slide about that. Yeah, it happens. It happens every day. Okay, so here's what the progress report looks like. This is what you get sent home is the student progress report. First thing we see is you have a chart with all the relevant data over here on the right. It shows you all the different sections, and it goes reverse chronological. So the top is going to be spring 17, fall, spring, going back through time. This student, this is only their second year at AES. They started in 7th grade. If your kids have been here longer, you know, this table will just continue to come all the way down. You can also see that exact same information here in a graphical form. So we go from fall of 15 to spring of 16, fall of 16 to spring of 17. And you can see the blue line, in this case, mostly along the top, is the kid's actual RIT score. The orange line is the district grade level. So we are the district. So this is, since this kid is in 8th grade, this orange line is the AES average 8th grade score. And this, the yellow line, for us is always the bottom line. This is the norm groups. This would be the average score across all of the US. So we can see, this is very characteristic, it's very common. We can see where the blue line, we can see this kid, the way we would interpret this is, back in fall of last year, this kid was very, very much in line with the average for the grade. By the spring of last year, the student was above the average grade. came to fall of this year, and doesn't mean that this kid doesn't know as much as he or she used to know, but had a bad test, or didn't display all that he or she knew on the test, dropped a little bit, back down to below the AES average, and then now is back up above the AES average. So this is something that happens all the time. We should never expect the lines to be straight. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're not. So let's get into some of the things that we see up there. So first off is what I was saying, district grade level is AES. That's the AES average. The norm grade level mean rate, this is the average for US students at that same grade level. A little bit cut off here on the top here, but the rate growth is just test this time, so we can see, there we go. So we can see it says rate growth 17, and so this most recent one is 243. The fall of 16 was 226, so that's just what's the difference there, is 17. And the growth projection is the rate growth required to maintain the same US percentile. So what I want you to notice here is that the growth projection was only 2, but the actual growth was 17. So, but if you look at the graph, you'll see that what's laying inside of that is that this student in fall of 16, in the fall of this year, dropped off. And probably, I would imagine that's probably not a super accurate score. You know, for all sorts of reasons. Sometimes kids do well on tests, sometimes kids do poorly on tests. A lot of times it's about what they know and can do, but sometimes it's about being sick, or their friend was mean to them, or there are all sorts of things that might come into that. So what we see here is that in the fall of this year, the student was at the 70th percentile. So if that student wanted to maintain 70th percentile, he or she would have only needed to grow by 2 points. But what we actually saw is that they grew by 17 points and went back up to significantly above the AES average. Just something that happens. And like I was saying, student percentile, we can read that as better than that percent of kids at that grade level. And then you also see there's always a range in there, because as I was saying earlier, the math test does a pretty good job of recognizing that they don't have perfectly precise answers. Okay, so as I was saying, and as we can see right here, that blue line, right, is jagged. Yes? Of course. You don't have lines. Okay, so there's either an error. Did your son or daughter do the test in the fall? Yeah. So you can see it. It's the reason that you only have dots is because this is the first math test. Yeah. So to have lines like this, you have to have more than one. Yeah. Yeah. And you're right, and you can't tell which dots are which. Okay. Let's communicate after this. I'll get you better statistics than that. Yeah, the reports aren't very valuable if you only have one testing session, because you can't see lines and it doesn't show the colors. So I'm having fun with that. Okay, so in the email that I sent home, I gave the example of measuring your child's height on the wall. A very common thing to do, right? Measure the height and you know, when on their second birthday, third birthday, fourth birthday, fifth birthday, so on. It's a common thing we do, measure growth. If you were to plot that height at when they're 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, you would find that it would generally go up over time. But it would not be a straight line. And that's because human growth is very rarely linear. We shouldn't expect human growth to be linear. So again, when we look at this shape of this blue line, this is characteristic, and this is something we sort of jokingly call porpoising. Because they're sort of going in, jumping out of the water, going back down into the water, jumping back out of the water. So this is something that we should expect. Human growth of any kind is not linear or regular. We call that porpoising. There's a picture of porpoise. Okay, so here's the other thing, negative growth and ISV, which stands for Individual Score Validity. So sometimes grid scores go down. We can see this right here, this sample student. From spring of 16, quite high, and then in fall of 16, just over the summer, the score went down. Now that happens. It happens all the time, and it does not typically mean that the student doesn't know as much as they used to, isn't able to do all the things that they were used to. It's typically about individual score validity. Individual score validity. Now, I'm not, please understand, I'm not just throwing away the whole idea. I mean, the tests matter, the scores matter, but we often find that there's some noise in the tests. And individual score validity, all sorts of reasons for this. Think about why you might do poorly on a test. If you don't care about it, you're not engaged. If you speed test, we've seen definitely, especially third, fourth graders, they just can't get through it fast enough. They don't, which is just something that we have to expect, right? If you're bored, if you're distracted, if you're tired, if you're sick, upset, unhappy, your friend was mean to you, you didn't get snack, you didn't get to run around, all sorts of reasons. These are all the different reasons why we might get low individual score validity. And every single testing session, we get some of them. And it's up to, we're not always going to know whether a score is perfectly valid or whether a score has some noise. So when we have unexpected results, we know because when we know they're unexpected when we have scores that are not in line with teacher experiences and not in line with those internal assessments we have. The whole first part of this presentation was about all the different ways we do internal assessments. So we have a really clear sense of where our kids are typically. And so when you speak with your child's teachers about their math scores, they will typically be able to tell you, oh, that's about right, or a couple of these scores seemed about right. This last one, it doesn't ring true to me. And that's, in those cases, you're often going to see the porpoising going back up to where you might expect them to be. One of the things we look at to know whether these are unexpected results is the timetable. How long it took this kid to take the test versus how long it took other kids in the grade versus how long it's taken this kid before. Our test, the math test, is untimed. Typically, kids finish it in about an hour. It's usually about 40, 45 questions, and usually it takes most kids about an hour. Sometimes it takes kids up to 3 hours, and it's fine. It's not trying to get out as many answers as you can within a certain amount of time, because it's automatically adapting to the student anyway.
Sorry, can I ask you this question?
Of course.
So, last math test, one of my child said that they ran out of time.
I'd be interested to dig into that a little bit more. We tend not to cut kids off. Yeah, Kevin, you want to?
I can speak to that. So they have not, we have a general timeline for the initial taking of the test, and to accommodate most kids. And if we see that there's a few that are going to run longer, we just tell them we're going to suspend the test and they can go take a break, and then we bring them back. They can finish the test. We know exactly where they left off. Yeah, they all do finish.
Yeah.
The initial time limit is about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, around about 90% of kids finish within the time that we have broken out of the schedule to do it. But then we provide, we need to let them have a break, and then we bring them back and take it. Sometimes a kid will start it on Monday and finish it on Thursday. It really doesn't matter.
And is it an hour and a half from all the tests at once? Or is it an
No,
hour and a half
per hour and a half per test, yeah, per domain. For language usage, reading, and
So they do it across different days? Or
Only one per day.
only one day. Yeah, and we try to do it in the morning when they're fresh. Try to do it in the morning. We try to do it in a familiar environment. There are lots of different approaches to stress testing. Our approach to honestly to get the most valid results that we can is we don't want to make a big deal out of it. We don't want to change the way the room looks. We don't want to get everybody sitting in lines if they don't normally sit in lines. We just want it to be like an ordinary day, because this is not a test that you could really study for, or the way you would study for it is by being a good student. So we're not trying to cram kids, it's not high stakes. Their results, it's not whether they go on to the next grade or anything like that. So what we find is that we get the most valid results, the most accurate results, when the kids are relaxed and calm and taking the test just like it's something that they might do any other day. So we'll look at time taken, and what we find typically is it's very difficult to draw conclusions without multiple data points. We really need to get, once we have a couple years in there, then we can start to make, decide on actions based on that. All right, so some of those interventions and accommodations, we definitely use the MAP test data in the same way that we use our internal summative assessment data to help identify students who need some extra help, student-specific strategies and support. And within NWEA, we actually have a pretty broad array of accommodations that we can do. And typically we do these for our academic support students, so we can do administration in small groups. We can do a reader for math and language usage sections. But again, our sort of going back to our beliefs about MAP testing are that we want it to be beneficial for students, and we want to make sure that they feel comfortable, and that's how we're going to get the most valid results.
Sorry, quick question. When does intervention happen? If your child scores below the yellow line?
We don't. Well, that would be half. Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. No.
Below the U.S.
So we don't have any like etched in stone markers like that. Basically, what we do is we definitely look for low percentile, but more than necessarily determining our next steps, it brings up an alert, and we talk to the teachers, and we talk to the counselors, and we sort of gain a more holistic understanding of what that student, where they are, what they need, what's next for them. And typically what we find is that most of the kids who are at relatively low US percentiles are often on our watch list anyway. So it's not like, it's very uncommon for a kid to have show up with a very low score if we didn't know that already going into it. Okay, if you want more information about MAP, there is the video that I put into the email that you got with your kids' results. There's this frequently asked questions document as well. That's linked in there. This is a real interesting one. This is produced by NWEA, the company that makes the test, and it's strategies for improving reading, writing, and math skills, things that parents can do with their kids. And you can go to their website as well. What should you do with this? What should parents do with all this, with this new report? Going back to the beginning of this presentation, whenever we're analyzing data, we want to triangulate. We need to make sure that math is not the only thing that we're looking at. So if I have a concern about my kid's math score, then I need to look at the math score. I need to talk to the math teacher. I want to think about things that are going on in my kid's life with respect to math. So we want to draw it in from as many different places as we can so that we can actually hone in on where the kid really is. Like I said, it's on both sides. We don't want to look at the math score and say, oh, it doesn't matter, they just had a bad day. Because if they're consistently, and that's the thing, it's consistently over the course of multiple testing sessions, if they're underperforming, then that's something that we care about. And we know that the math assessment tends to have high validity. Certainly once on a school level, individual kids, they can have a good day or a bad day. What's a good way to say this? Math, it doesn't mean everything, but it definitely means something. Okay, so we want to look at that as one piece in the whole child's learning profile. It's a snapshot. Definitely talk to teachers. Always, teachers are going to be the best source of information about your kids' learning. Most valuable for multiple years of results. What we have in place is a combination across different divisions. In the elementary school, your first line is probably going to be teacher and counselor. In the middle school, we're asking families to contact counselors to coordinate that. In the high school, it would be counselors as well. If you have questions about math test or IB, AP, all of our external assessments, you can speak with me. I'd be more than happy to talk about that. If you have a math test result that only has 1 year and it's difficult to see where things are because it doesn't show lines, talk to me and I'll get you more information. And we have Mr. Kevin Nelson is right here, and have middle school and elementary parents in here. And there's me at the end. So, I'd like to open this up for if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer them. Yes.
So how many underscore data points does your child have to have over consistently over a couple of years for the school to take notice? Is it 3 data points? Because I know one is just a bad day, right?
It could be,
2,
yeah.
3, 5?
Well, I think it sounds like you might want to talk to a counselor or an administrator for your division. Because, like I was saying, we don't really have like hard lines where we'd say, okay, below 50th percentile definitely means this. We want to meet every kid where they are. If you have concerns and you think that the math scores are indicating something about your kid that teachers and counselors and administrators are not identifying, then that's a great thing to bring up. Make sure you have your math report with you, and I'm sure they'd be more than happy to talk to you about it.
It's more, my understanding of the math test, my kids have taken it for 4 years now, is there's only one math test, and so you have access to the file, so say you have a middle schooler, whatever, elementary schooler, he or she is able to go up, like higher, like the test is not going to stop her from winning questions from, say, middle school. Is that how it works?
That's absolutely true. Yeah, so every test module has thousands of questions. So every year, we'll have 3rd and 4th grade students. In particular, we have some overachievers in math. So we'll have 3rd and 4th grade students answering questions that would typically be going for 10th and 11th graders in some of those math domains. But yeah, so every test module has thousands of questions. If they keep getting them right, they're going to get harder and harder and harder questions. Now this leads to a little bit of stress for some kids, especially the kids who are like your high 90th percentile kids, because in their lives, they tend not to have many questions to which they do not know the answers. And you can imagine, if you had gone through school and you were really at the top of the class at all times, then almost every single question that anyone's ever given you, you knew the answer to. And math is not going to be like that. In fact, the test will not end, the test will not give a valid score until they've gotten a significant number of questions wrong. So it throws some kids for a little bit of a loop, but again, that's how we actually hone in on where they actually are and what are truly the next steps for them.
So that is my next concern. So the percentile, I would say that because I know that once you get 99 percentile, there's just not enough that data to put you where you're at.
Yes.
How do we read that if it's really 99%? So, okay, but how do you read it? Is that percentile coming from comparing your child to the school?
It's to the U.S.
Or to the
It's to the U.S. So that percentile is, yeah. So you can see, let me pull up one of the graphs. You can see a couple different things. You'll see what the AES average is. And again, here. So the orange line represents AES average. And so if a kid is 99th percentile in a domain, then they're going to be well above AES average as well. It's something that happens, especially in our community. If you're looking for more discrimination than 99th percentile, this test is not going to give it to you. That's maybe some summer programs, some other enrichment kind of stuff. But yeah, what we'll find is that once a kid's up in the high 90th percentile, as long as they're not dropping too far out of the high 90th percentile, that means that they're really on track. And we don't really have to worry so much about that growth projection and stuff like that, because we're talking about really tiny differences among that group of kids. But it is compared to the U.S. So, and that percentile value is really meaningful. If it says 99th percentile, it really means that score, if we gave that exact same test to every kid in the United States at that grade level, then that kid's score is better than 99% of those scores. So it's a truly meaningful thing, but it's not going to give you a ton of actionable information once a kid is in the high 90th percentile. It's just not, that's not what it's for.
I have a question. Can you, with the percentile range, can you tell what grade your kid actually
it's similarly, it's not like that. So the RIT score, so we have the grade independent score, which is the RIT, and then we have compared to kids at that grade, which is the percentile. But that's the only two things you're going to get. Yeah.
So would the teacher know what grade your kid tested at? Like, can you give your
No, and it's because, it starts to get a little bit, so let's go back to that example that we were just giving of the kid who's in 4th grade, who, because they have so much math knowledge, they're going up and up and up, and they're answering high school kind of math questions. We wouldn't say, it gets a little bit more complex because their math tests are aligned to Common Core, which is the documentation that in which our curriculum is grounded in. But by the time you get up, in particular in math, for example, by the time you get up to the higher levels of math, it's very content specific. So, if a kid, for whatever reason, is going to extra school, after school, and learning all sorts of algebra and geometry and trigonometry and stuff, then they may well have scores that are up there. But it doesn't mean that they're testing like they're in 9th grade or 10th grade, because very likely there are going to be some big gaps in there as well. There's never a RIT score. You could look back and see, we have the norm profiles where you could look back and see what is the 50th percentile in math in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. But that still doesn't mean that it's that great of a score. Because again, even within a school like this, where we have a really academically motivated community, we'll have kids in 4th grade and kids in 9th grade who get the same RIT score. And so it's a little bit more complex than that.
So just a quick question, just to understand it. I'm imagining that if a child starts taking a test, the average questions come up, right? Say, for example, we talk about math. And if the child consistently gets it wrong, he gets an easier question, and if he or she. And of course, if they get it right, then they get harder questions. Could you then tell if, because that orange line is an average, so that means there are some kids higher up and some kids lower down, that I understand out of that. So you can still not tell, can someone say to you, your child tested at 3 grades higher than what he and she is in, or?
No, it's not like that. It's not like that, because we're talking about the same, so a 3rd grader and a 10th grader would be exposed to the same set of thousands of questions. So it's just where they answer. Every question has a RIT value, and so wherever they're answering them right, and wherever we find the spot between where they're answering them right and answering them wrong, that's their RIT score. But there really isn't. We have normative data. We could say, that I can tell you what the RIT score is for the 90th percentile in math in spring in 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. But that doesn't mean that it's that grade level. It's because the test is essentially the same, or draws from the same bank of questions for all kids from 3rd through 10th grade.
Sorry, so one final question, just to understand this. So for example, in this example, this kid had 226. So will this individual child start their first question at the 226 level?
Yeah, it starts with
every child does not have the same question. The first question is not the same.
No.
It just depends on what level they're in.
Yeah.
And
If they've taken a test at AES before, then it starts them off at the RIT level of their last test. If they've never taken a test at AES before, it starts them off at the 50th percentile from that grade. And it will adapt from there. Yeah. So if they've taken a test here before, then we get a jump start on finding out exactly where they are. So we start where they left off.
One question, and that's the next slide score.
Yeah, so this is in comparison to another outside. You can look up, if you just do a Google search for flexile range. It's a system where they take the reading score and they basically have thousands of examples of kids reading math scores, and a flexile score is a way of measuring the complexity of reading texts. So if you're looking for books for your kid, again, going back to the zone of proximal development, we want to give books to kids that are a little bit harder than they can currently do. And so the the Lexile range is something that you can look, you can do an Amazon search for books based on the Lexile range and stuff like that. So the Lexile range, and that's not a program that we are part of, but it will give you a comparison. So based on that reading score, if you look for books that have that Lexile range, that would be a good spot, a good reading book for a kid with that score.
Okay, so if I was to search on Amazon, I would say that range, or do I take that average center point?
I think if I were you, I would just start with searching for Lexile range, and then they would give you more information about.
They maintain a website, like something that you could look at, Lexile,
Yeah.
and you could
You
put,
plug it
and then
in.
it's set up to put in that range, and then it gives you books that pop out.
And at AES, we use a Fountas and Pinel, the letter system. You might have heard your kids talking about, I'm
Yeah.
a U or a V or whatever. You can also just Google for a chart that will tell you what the Lexile would be if you are at a U independent level.
But in the email that you sent, there's an average Lexile range which kind of puts your kid in a specific grade or gives you an idea. And as an example, I've got a 7th grader and her Lexile range is coming to 12th grade. Definitely she's not reading 12th grade books. What does that mean?
It means that she was able to answer questions that indicate that she is at a point where she can start to consume texts that are quite a bit above her current grade. So yeah, it doesn't mean she's like reading like a 12th grader, but it means that her zone of proximal development, the place where it's just a little bit further than what she's currently capable of, is somewhat above her grade. So you can get her some more complex books. That's what it's saying.
Based on what you did on this particular case.
Yeah, I understand this one point. Sorry, I have a lot of questions. So in this example, for example, there's 4 points. I have a lot of data points. It's been here 5 years. Because there's no regression. I could put my points up on Excel and do a regression. So, and I could do an average of the yellow line and the orange line. I was doing some statistical analysis on this. Clearly, of course, if your child's linear line is growing faster than the AES average, you're in a good place.
Sure.
But does the school do any sort of analysis with multiple data points? Because if your child's line is going the other way, that would be a concern. So, does the school actually look at those multiple data points on each individual child?
No. So the way this works is for individual kids, teachers have looked at all of their kids, and we also have sort of triggers for deeper conversations that happens typically in our student support teams. So in terms of aggregate statistics, yeah, I do a lot of reports and that's part of our accreditations. We do a lot of reflection, including our grade level and division level math scores. I'm not looking at every single kid, but someone other than you, like certainly a teacher and in many cases a counselor, is looking at every test result kid by kid. So this is far and away the most common test like this that is given at international schools. So our peer schools across NISA is very common. So Chris knows it in the Persian Gulf and in Bombay, Japan, Kuala Lumpur, Beijing. It is definitely most international schools, and then in the United States, it's very common among independent schools, sort of private schools like ours, and also it's very common among suburban public school districts. So it is more common in the United States. It's more common for more academically motivated, academically oriented schools. So kids who are, and that's part of when we talk about the representative sample. It's important to understand that is really a representative sample. It represents it's sort of equally across all areas of the U.S. and, like I was saying, rich and poor and different races and everything like that, all mixed together in the appropriate amounts so that the percentile score is really meaningful. Because most of the kids who have actually taken math tests in the U.S. come from more advantaged backgrounds than is average across all fields. So very common, very common.
I would assume the yellow line is a typical bell curve, but is our, the AES average, the orange line, is that also like a typical bell curve?
Well,
Straight towards more on the left?
yeah, well, okay, so depends on what you mean there. The orange line is the average RIT score of kids in that grade at that point. So the lines on the reports are certainly not bell curves, but if that is an average, so there are going to be kids who are above that and kids that are below that. With only about 100 kids per grade, we have a lot of noise in our data. It's very difficult to make statistical tests with that few number of kids. So we definitely have a lot of kids, I mean, on both sides. But I don't, I wouldn't feel comfortable saying that every AES average is close to a bell curve.
Do you have, yourself as a manager, do you have access to data for this schools, like private schools, in like say,
Yes, we have some.
there's some lines compared to?
Yeah, we have some of these. This is a page out of our annual report. So this is across all three of the domains and at grades 3 through 10. Can't read that very well, but this is just a page out of the annual report. You all have access to the annual report. So the lowest line is the U.S. because again, this represents everybody, all kids in the U.S. And the most specific we have is we would never have another school's data, but we have averages of, so this is our nearest South Asia, this is our regional conference, here coast is East Asia, and our line is up. So we're typically right in line or above your coast, and we're typically somewhat above NISA at every grade and domain. I think I've held you hostage long enough. If we have discussed something and you wanted it, I said I was going to get more information for you, please hang out. If you'd like to take some of these printouts, again, these are the same links as you had in your email, with the results, but please feel free. I already printed them.